Episode 900. I'm sure you were all expecting something spectacular and magnificent, but all I've got for you is this bug. Isn't the inside of a beacon beam supposed to be like the outside of the beacon beam? What's going on here? Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. It is episode 900. It is a landmark, and in the past I've done specials. And you know what? I was actually planning a bunch of really cool stuff to put into a special, but then I thought these ideas feel more like what would occur at episode 1000. So down in the comments, can we get some episode 1000 hype? Who's going to be here for episode 1000? Trust me. I am going to be playing on Hermitcraft for time to come. It actually probably will happen this season that we hit episode 1000, and that will be the next special that I'm going to do. So anyway, we are actually going to try and do something a little bit more remarkable this episode. I have been gathering up tons and tons of terracotta because we need this for building, as we're going to construct an entire tower in our jungle today, from top to bottom, and this one is going to be absolutely massive. So the question is, are you ready for an epic time lapse? We're going to use the replay mod, and fingers crossed that it doesn't give us any issues. Some of the other hermits have been struggling with it. I've been very lucky so far that everything I've recorded has worked. But let's talk about the materials going into this. I've spent several hours collecting all of these different materials. We've got iron blocks, we've got the means to make carpet, sea lanterns and bone blocks, different types of terracotta, honey blocks galore, concrete powder, a full box of cyan terracotta, another one, and another one of white, and another one of white. My friends, this is going to be a crazy build. And just like that, our second building has come towering into existence. This thing looks crazy, and like over here, it's got one of these landing bays, as you can see up the top there. We're going to fly on in just a second. Also, I've got a couple of things over here that have been dropped off to me, but we're going to come back to this area later on. I actually want to take a break from being in the jungle right now, and the tower that you see here is not actually finished at this point in time. You see, we need to bring the iron up to the top here. So you'll notice on this backside, there's like this open space here. And we're actually going to construct an additional tower that goes alongside this to bring up iron ingots from down at the bottom to the very top area. So we simply fly up into this top area to use the farm, right? We don't have to go down to the bottom. And that's why there is the cyan terracotta on those sides, but not on the backside here. And it'll look great when we finish it, but let's just enjoy the view. So satisfying, and the honey crystal on top is absolutely amazing. Again, the lore for our builds is that the honey powers things, right? So the honey crystal here is powering the farm. However, I'm going to go in here and nab my beacon. It's actually the only beacon that I have, and so I'm going to take it around with me. We need to get our hands on another one of these. So we shall be returning to the jungle later in the episode. There is still much more to be done with our iron farm and the tower, but we're going to get it all done this episode. And you can see where I nabbed the beacon from, right? There's no longer a beacon beam over here. Also, more and more diamonds on the pile as more and more shops are popping up. And also, these little pop-up shops right here. Someone has taken over these vacant little market stalls. So there is now scaffolding, spider eyes, and string, and I imagine I'll be buying a few stacks of this stuff. As for our own personal sales, the only thing we've sold is ink sacks, and we've made quite a few. How many? 8 diamonds right there. That's terrific. Also, while I remember the head games we are still participating in, I bumped into a wandering trader. I got a Tango head and a Corrales head, as you can see, and Tango non-PvP 100 points. Yes, please. Ah, look at this. Corrales has been racking up some points as well. That's really good. We got a couple hundred points right there. This isn't good. 5,000 points! Oh dear, we are falling far behind. Far behind. Anyway, we are here to work on the rocks shop. We've left this project unfinished for a while now, and there's really not... I'm down here now. Hi. How did that happen? There's really not too much more left here to do. As you can see, a lot of the rocks in the ceiling and structure is all in place. It's just about the redstone. And I've been working on this furnace design and coming up with solutions. So with this project, I want to achieve something that feels mechanical, that you interact with, you can watch it in action. And somewhere over there, we're going to be loading up our minecarts of items to be smelted. They're actually going to come across the room, and then they're going to drop off of this rail, which is important because we needed to go back and forth over and over again to fill up all of these hoppers, and then when it's empty, it needs to go on its way. And I've come up with the redstone solution for that. It involves an extra hopper over the edge here that doesn't point into a furnace, and if it detects that items are still going into here, then it knows that the minecart chest still has items in. And so then with a couple of repeaters and a little pulse extender over here using comparators, it pushes this block out and it stops the minecart from going any further. So to see this in action, I'm going to chuck in some stone, we'll give it a little nudge, and we'll watch it do its thing. You see, now that stays extended. It's actually going to stay there for a while. So this thing is locked in until it becomes empty, which it now is actually. So any moment now that's going to retract, right? There you go. And the minecart chest can come back once it's been emptied. Rocks is now very close to completion. When we walk in, you're pretty much seeing the end product now. And as we go in, you may notice on the left that we're now selling gold. 3 diamonds for a stack. And then lapis is 5. I really don't have a lot of this. It's actually the only stack I've got. I do have more gold. I also accidentally put coal over here and then realised we're selling that on that side. And as we go in here, you'll notice that the area is now sectioned off with these iron bars, and I think that's going to make it very easy for customers to find our stock. I've also changed the price of this as well because we haven't sold anything at all, so it's now even cheaper. And then round the corner here is where our other stock is, and I sort of integrated it a little bit into some of the other builds to make it all come together. And everything here is just feeling fantastic. But let's talk about the furnace setup, because I've done the top part. And once a minecart chest up there is empty and all the items have been drained into the hopper, it'll make its way along through this back area. Can you see how there's now this like creepy little opening? There's actually rails in there, so I'll be able to see the minecart chest making its way back around again. Might also be a good idea to like hide a little redstone system, maybe some lights turn on and some sounds are made so I can be notified of it that way. And it comes out the end here and it goes all the way across and into this cactus, which will put the minecart on the chest into this barrel. And then guess what? I can slap it down here, load it full of items, press the button, and on its way it goes around to the furnaces. Now when I started this project, I really didn't have much room for a crazy redstone contraption, and as I've tried to wrestle with how I want to do the fueling and the extraction of the items, I think I'm going to go for something very simple and mostly manual, which is fine because I want to spend time in this area enjoying it. So the first challenge was with a minecart hopper going underneath these furnaces. Turns out you can't really use a comparator to detect when it's empty. So I had to ditch that idea and put hoppers underneath to take the items out. They would then put it into a minecart chest down below. And then we would use comparators to detect when these hoppers were empty. And that could cause its own problems. But here's a little bit of overcomplicated redstone from me right here. When there is items in here, you can see that it shifts the track back and forth, which was a little bit annoying to set up. Of course, the easier thing to have done was that, right? It either goes into the block and makes its way back again, or it hops over the track and goes on its way. Sometimes in redstone, you just end up overcomplicating simple things. And with that in mind, I kind of went back to my original idea and thought about what is the simplest way to do this. And I realized that maybe with a button as an input, we could have a minecart hopper just sitting over here, and then when we want it to collect the items, we go and press the button, it goes on its way, but then we have a circuit around the back here to keep it running. So just like we did above, we're going to detect when items go over the edge here, and this hopper actually points into a chest as well, so we will collect all of our items. And when those items do flow through here from the minecart hopper, as you'll see, we've got a decay clock, and with a little bit of redstone wire, we can then keep this on over here. And I think that was just a lag spike. And I think, did that thing's got items in it. Okay, I was smelting something earlier. You're watching it in action. It's doing it. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, this thing's probably empty now. And there you go. So eventually this turned off because it decayed. And then this thing sits over here parked, so it's not going back and forth again. That has worked out really well. Oh, and when it comes to fuel going in the back here, I don't think there's really enough room to squeeze in something automated. So I think I might leave it open like this so I can actually... Oh no, they changed the hitbox of the hopper, look. Ah, I was thinking I could put fuel in here, but if I know I'm going to need more, I could reach into the back. So if I had a chain of hoppers coming to this point, I could feed in something from up above, which means I'd need a chest at, I think, this height here, which would be kind of ridiculous. So I think we're going to pass on that. And there we go, that is our furnace array. Now, having put a lot of time and effort into this area, I'm going to save... Oh, I've got myself trapped in a hole. So yes, I'm going to save the details of tidying up this open area for a live stream. I like to do little things like that, and I'll probably come in here and decorate it a little bit more, but for the most part it's done. So let's refresh our memories and remember that a minecart chest coming through here will actually go straight ahead and then up this rail once I power it, and around the side here, and that's where we're going to install this contraption. Now can you see how the minecart would just hit that block and fall straight down? Well, there's tripwire there, so once the minecart chests build up and the tripwire is activated, it's going to create a redstone signal that comes around the top here. I've actually just powered through and finished building this now, so you can see a whole bunch of redstone torches. The other side of those are tripwire hooks, so they will invert the torch above. That creates a redstone signal that goes out to here, which is directly above the corner, which you can change, although this is the very last one, so it's not really needed here, is it? With all of that redstone in place, can we just take a moment to appreciate the ambience over here? I'm loving the lighting. I've actually put some in underneath where the red carpets are, so that that area is illuminated, nice and bright, and it's actually all ready to show you now. So I'm going to send through some minecart chests. They're going to be going through a little bit quicker than they would do when we're actually using this thing to store them up, but if you can't see what's going on here, then let me be a better steward of your viewing and move closer, because you can see that the minecarts are kind of dropping on top of one another. Now I believe it's either this one or the next that changes the status, because at one point or another those minecarts are going to activate the tripwire hook, and that's then going to send them into the next area. So that was the one, I believe. Okay, so this one then goes on and around and into the next chamber. So I can be down there mining away for ages, just filling up minecart chest after minecart chest, and they will slowly be filling up over here. Wonderful, just wonderful. This project, for now, is finished. I might expand it in the future with some other ideas involving redstone, but there we go. Project complete. We now have a workstation and a store rolled into one, and it looks fantastic. I have also just realized that this minecart picks up everything from directly above it, but that doesn't really cause a problem, and we needed a button over here, and now I get to enjoy it actually being used, so it should be dropping off some items into here. Excellent. But yes, we're all done with this, and it's time to get back to the jungle. It's beautiful, it's glorious, and an idea just popped into my head. Maybe we can add a redstone mechanism where when the farm is running, it leaves the beacon on, but it turns it off when it's not. That could be a really cool idea. And we're going to go over there and finish up the project. There's more building to do and technical things to talk about But earlier I did mention that we had a couple of things over here. So we've been gifted this by Impulse, some emeralds, and also a Totem of Undying. And essentially he is just advertising his shop. Now, I should probably just play with one of these in the offhand, since I haven't really been using my offhand for too much else this season. And with the magic of a resource pack Tango just gave me, the totem now doesn't appear in my offhand at all. I should really get this incorporated into vanilla tweaks. Originally what we did is we made it appear smaller down here in the left, but I think I actually prefer it not being there at all. And also we got a delivery from our buddy Corrales. Oh my goodness me, I know how many hours of work this took, so we got to get some sand to complement all of this. But anyway, I want to turn my attention to the tower over there, and the honey that we used at the top to build the crystal actually came from down here, so I needed a large quantity of it, and the farm isn't kicking out honey fast enough, and so I just pinched it from down here where we had a whole bunch of it. If I go around the corner you'll see that. So yeah, this is like my honey bank at the moment, and the honey bank is nearly empty. Oh yeah, and if you notice that the inside of here is nice and clean and looking finished up, it's close to completion. I've done a lot more work on that during a live stream, and there's more to come, but let's have a quick check on honey supplies. Yeah, that's what I like to see. Lots and lots of bottles coming through. So back to the tower. Around the back here we need to put in support struts that are similar to this, but we're also going to have a secondary tower that delivers iron all the way to the very top. And something you might find a little bit odd is that there is jungle coming out the side here. That's because I was going to be cautious about removing it. If we go around to this side, you'll see that there isn't jungle blocks here, and that's because the farm itself is an even amount of blocks wide, whereas the tower is odd. So that means that there's this bit where it overlaps and it doesn't on the other sides. But that's fine because the farm is mostly contained inside the tower. So if I go down here and just break a couple of these blocks, I can have a look at where the lava is. It actually looks like it's mostly at the level of the stone. That's really good because... oh yes, I didn't make this with signs. Oh, okay, I thought the signs might be dependent on the blocks on the side. Right. Well, I can easily remove the jungle and replace it with concrete. Looks like some vines managed to grow in here, and we actually have like a big grouping of iron golems. I wonder how many of them are there. Okay, something about this just doesn't feel right, but if I hold down click, I'm never going to actually... oh, I thought I attacked them for a second. Okay, that'll do for now. Wow. Wow, the sounds. So I really like the way in which the platform is slightly overgrown. We're actually going to keep that as we build the base of this next tower, and then we'll evaluate if we want to keep it like that or not, because it might end up looking a little bit odd. But anyway, it is time for some music, because we're going to do this with a short little time lapse. Okay then, so this tower out the back here is simply to bring the iron ingots up to the top. So we're going to be able to fly in here and collect our drops. We'll also be able to turn the farm on and off, but we'll do that redstoning a little later. Just some thoughts on this. I realised as I was coming up here that we could save on iron if we didn't place in these two sets of blocks. So I'm probably just going to replace them with cobble as I make my way down to the bottom. But yes, this is where we're going to have a water stream coming up. We're going to use a soul sand elevator to bring the items to the top. That is all in place now. So below these trapdoors, we've got the soul sand and then a water stream to take it all the way to the top. And then at the other end here, you know, we've got a dropper, and the redstone here to be a little bit different as I needed to power it from below. So we've got the clock at the top, and then the signal gets transferred around to the underneath of the dropper so that it can power any items coming through. And I've reconfigured all of the hoppers to simply point into the dropper here, so it's no longer using this as storage, which means all the items are getting sent to the top. Looks like iron golems can spawn in this little space here, which won't be a problem because I can lay down a carpet and that will stop them from spawning in the gap. And also the structure at the top here, I think it might need a few extra blocks here and there, but I like the way that it rounds off at the top here. And if you're wondering why it gets a little bit fatter, well, that is because we've got the water stream in the middle, and now we need a way to route it into some storage. And you can see the iron is making its way to the top. That's terrific. So this water stream is probably going to like flow over to the side here, go across like this, and then there'll be an array of chests and hoppers here. So I've cleaned this up. We've got a nice array of chests. It ties in nicely with the aesthetics around here. And we're going to hop up the top and sort out the water stream. It took me a while to figure this out, but it's actually pretty simple. So we're going to route the water this way first of all. So there we go. We're also just going to fill in all of this because we need to fill in those blocks at least. And so I'll just fill in all the space. So the next spot to put the water is here, and it will flow around across all of the hoppers. I need to jump back here though, so then we can place stair blocks across like this. And we fill in the top, and I believe that covers all gaps in here. So let's replace these blocks, and I think it's all finished. Okay, so up the top here I've added some more cyan blocks to make it feel like this bulge is held into place. And I've put in the carpets where that iron golem was, just over my shoulder. And straight away I heard more iron golems spawning. So if we pop our heads into here, we should see that the iron is coming through. Yes, look at that. Job done. I say that, but there's lighting fixtures that need to be installed up here. However, I've ran out of end rods, and there's actually a little bit of redstone I wanted to install to turn this farm on and off. But I kind of run out of time here, but I feel very happy with how complete this currently is. I mean, it's pretty much there, right? And it looks fantastic. We need to get our hands on another beacon, though. And we also need to step up our game with Corrales and get all of this concrete made over here. And I think we might be doing those things in the next episode. But that is it for this one. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like as always. Thank you for your support. And I'll see you soon with another episode of Hermitcraft. Bye bye.